Hey y'all, welcome to Kamira's Kitchen. Today we're making some homemade hush puppies, batter fried chicken, and some fried okra. Y'all, you know this is a southern delight on a tray right here. Don't forget to check out my ebook in the description box, and I'm going to get started with marinating the chicken. I am using chicken wings, but you can use chicken legs. Now, I really love this specific Creole seasoning with the spices and herbs. I'm just going to season this to taste, and then I'm going to also add some roasted garlic and herb seasoning. This is really good. I know it says it's for the grill, but y'all know these labels don't tell us what to do, okay? I'm also using some white pepper, but black pepper is totally fine. I will also put in half of a capful of shrimp and crab like seafood boil for a little spiciness, but you could also use cayenne pepper, garlic powder, and some, don't tell nobody, MSG. Y'all, this stuff make your chicken taste so good. And if you don't like it, just think, okay, some of y'all that be complaining, y'all be eating Hamburger Helper, y'all be eating McDonald's full of all sorts of stuff, and then y'all want to come for me, okay? Don't use it if you don't want to, but I'm just saying, okay? Now, the best thing about this way of frying chicken is that you're going to do everything in one bowl. This is actually one of my favorite ways to fry chicken. So I'm putting in about 1/4 cup of self-rising flour, and then I am going to put in about 1/4 cup of cold water. You need to add enough flour and water until a somewhat paste is formed around the chicken. So if it's too loose, you just go in and you add a little bit more flour. Don't be too strict about the measurement here, okay? You can always go in and adjust as needed. But what is important is the texture. So I'm going to show you what sort of texture you are going for. So in the end, I think I ended up putting in about 1/2 cup of flour in total until I got something that was like this. You see how the batter is stuck to the chicken? There's a little bit of a drip, but it's not sliding too much. Now, I've been given some fresh garden okra. Oh my goodness, these were so good. And I'm going to prep these 2 different ways. So first off, I'm going to start by cutting off the ends, which I don't prefer to eat. And then I'm going to cut some of these in half. I like doing it this way because they're easier to dip. And it just looks nice. It almost looks like fries, but you know, it's a green vegetable. And then the other way I like to prep them is by cutting the okra in sort of 1/4 inch to 1/2 inch sort of round. So you could do either way. It's going to come out the same. Now, this recipe is inspired by a subscriber. He actually left a recommendation on how to do okra. And of course, I have my own method, but I want to try his way today. So thank you, whoever made that suggestion. So now I am going to add some egg, and then I'm going to toss this around. Because I had a good amount of cornmeal come off when I was frying, it really makes me think I maybe should have actually used 2 eggs for the amount of okra I had. So if you do the amount of okra that I'm using, try 2 eggs. Now I'm adding a little bit of cornmeal as well as some tapioca starch. The tapioca starch adds a crunchiness, but you can use cornstarch or you can use potato starch. And I'm going to put them in there and just lightly seasoning. You know, like a pinch of salt, a little bit of Creole seasoning. I'm going to be putting in a little bit of cayenne pepper, garlic powder. Y'all know the basis, okay? Season it up just a little bit, okay? Don't go overboard, though. Then I'm going to use my container. I'm just going to shake it up to mix this. You could also do this in a bowl, but I just think the container is the easiest. I'm going to slide in half of the okra. Then I'm going to put the lid on. I'm going to shake, shake, shake. Okay, shake what your mama gave you, you know what I'm saying? Okay, then that's going to coat the okra. Now, when I open it, I do want to tap them or shake them because I tried to avoid having a lot of excess, because that ends up just coming out in the oil. And then I place this on a tray at the side, and I just let this sit so that I can have everything ready. Before I'm actually going to fry today, I am going to have the okra ready, I'm going to have the chicken ready, and I'm going to have the hush puppy batter so that when you go to fry, you can do everything at one time. When you're frying, you really need to be focused on making sure the food doesn't burn. So this strategy is really the best in my opinion. Now I'm going to work on the hush puppies. I'm using fine ground cornmeal. This is the brand that I like. It's a North Carolina brand. I'm going to put in 2 cups, and I'm going to actually shake the cornmeal into the cup. That way, if I scoop it out of the bag, it's going to become very compressed, and I may actually have too much. So be mindful of that. I'm going to add some sugar, some garlic powder, some baking powder, as well as some salt, and I'm going to mix all of this together. Now, some people like really sweet hush puppies. You can add more sugar if you like. I have some white pepper and some chopped up onion that I'm adding, as well as some eggs. I'm going to be using some buttermilk. Now I'm going to take the buttermilk in the middle. As you can see, I made a little well, and then I start slowly incorporating things as I continue to mix until I get a batter that has a texture like this. Okay, this is what you are looking for. Okay, the hush puppy batter should be the last thing that you put together. In my wok, I have some vegetable oil heating. You could also use canola oil. You could use lard. You could use avocado oil. Now, I've had my oil heating, and I actually like to do a test first before I do the whole batch. I hate to ruin a batch of food, so I put in a wing, a hush puppy, and an okra. Now, I test the temperature of the oil this way. Of course, the chicken's going to take longer. It takes about 8 to 10 minutes. What you want to do here with the chicken, if the outside skin is soggy, that means your oil was too low. If it is, really hard on the outside, but it's not cooked in the inside, that means you need to lower the heat to your oil. The good thing about doing your frying in a wok is that it can actually change temperatures pretty readily. Whereas if you do it with cast iron, you're going to have to wait a little bit longer. Now, I put my chicken in. I let it just sit for about 2 minutes, 2 to 3 minutes. I didn't move it. And then I would start flipping it around so the other side could get crispy. Okay, this chicken for chicken wings is going to take about 8 to 10 minutes depending on the size. For legs, I find that it takes closer to 12 to 15 minutes depending on the side. And I actually haven't tried the batter fry method with other cuts of chicken other than really small cuts of chicken. Okay, I think smaller is better for this method. I'm going to take it out, and then I'm going to clean the oil. This is how you don't have to use so much oil, or change your oil when you're frying. Go through and clean it out, or those particles will burn. Y'all know I like to throw tips in here. So one of my biggest tips of the day is to heat your oven to 200 degrees. Put in a baking sheet with a cookie rack on top so that the oil can drip. And basically, every time you fry something, you put it in here. Now, I know some of y'all are going to eat too much. It's also a way to keep you from eating too much food, okay? So whenever I fry, I'm going to throw something in there, out of sight, out of mind, and staying warm. All right. Now, the next thing I'm going to fry is my hush puppies. You do not want the oil too hot for the hush puppies, or else they will cook too fast on the outside and be doughy on the inside. And I'll show you a couple at the end that I actually did that way on accident. But I cooked these until they were golden brown. It takes about 4 minutes, and then I'm going to scoop them out and I'm going to toss them right in that oven to stay warm. The last thing I'm going to do is the okra, because a lot of the cornmeal and I fry okra, I feel like it tends to fall off, and I don't want that on the other foods. I also tend to lower the temperature just a smidge. I'm going to cook these for about 3 to 4 minutes until they're golden brown, and I'm actually going to put these on a plate with some paper towel lining, because I'm going to season these. Really, they're best seasoned after they're fried, in my opinion. But these look delicious and they taste really good. And especially after you do the okra, you definitely need to go in there and clean out any cornmeal that has settled to the bottom of the wok. And since this oil had so much cornmeal in it, when I wanted to use it again, like for another fry for another day, I actually let it completely cool. I let the cornmeal come to the bottom, and then I took the oil off the top that could be reused. Now, this is my okra. I'm going to season this with a little cayenne pepper, a little salt, a little garlic powder, and a little MSG. Okay, just a little bit. Okay, just a little bit. Okay, do make it taste better. Okay, but if you don't want to use it, don't come for me. Okay, you ain't got to. But if you eat now, I guarantee you that you eat MSG or some other type of flavor enhancer. Period. All right. So you're going to toss these to season these. And if you've been enjoying this video, you guys know y'all better go ahead and hit the subscribe. Now, these are the ones I accidentally overcooked. Now, whenever I did that, y'all, I just broke the hush puppy in half and I threw it back into the oil so the inside could cook. We ain't throwing no food away. Y'all know groceries too high for that. I like to serve this up with some homemade ranch, and I put everything out on a platter. It's nice and warm and delicious. Let me know if you love this recipe. Don't forget that I love you and Jesus loves you. God bless everyone who watches my channel. I'll see you next time. Goodbye.